Many years ago, there was a wonderful website called Silk Road. And some of you may or may not know what that is, but essentially it was used for illicit trade. And the US government managed to crack down on it, and they seized it from Silk Road. Now, I don't want to go into the context of this, but what it means is that they had 50,000 bitcoins, which they seized, and because they are the government, they're probably going to be wanting to sell it. So here's the interesting thing, is they've already sold 9,000 bitcoins from this seizure, and they sold it very recently. I'm going to show you where they sold it in just a second, but they now have 41,000 bitcoins left to sell. So people are shitting bricks thinking that the market is going to be crashing because of that. And with that, plus a few other things, I want to cover what I'm seeing with you in today's video. Now, before we get to that, let's cover some short-term analysis as usual. Bitcoin is sitting right at the highs, continuing to consolidate at resistance, which is exactly what we like to see, potentially meaning that we are poised for a move up. I like seeing that on today's trading session being a Saturday, we have not moved very much. I do not want weekend volatility for Bitcoin right now. The breakout is too important. If we get a breakout, I want it to be at the same time that we see markets like the S&P 500 continue to shoot up, which, by the way, look at this rally. If anything is hinting that Bitcoin could be ready to explode up, it is the strength on the S&P 500, in my opinion. It is the absence of strength with the dollar, where even though the dollar has been rallying up, and it is definitely interesting to see that the dollar moved up on the same day as the S&P 500, it still is definitely in a weak position in my eyes. This is all painting a very, still for me, bullish picture for Bitcoin. I just don't see how Bitcoin can get a massive crash down at the moment. Still definitely possible, but I don't really see that path at the moment, so that's why I'm telling you what I'm seeing on these charts. Now, with a few of my key indicators, 1 hour Ichimoku cloud finally starting to provide some support to Bitcoin right now. I don't know how much importance I would give this. I don't think this is the most important thing in the world because of this small time frame, but if we zoom out a little bit to the 4 hour time frame, we have this fucking huge cloud. This huge cloud that has already supported Bitcoin when Bitcoin fell down to the green Kumo right here, this green top line. We've come close to it again, got a bounce, didn't quite bounce off the Ichi cloud, but definitely did come close. And this means that if we do just kind of find support in our current range, which starts at 26.7, ends at 28.7, we have huge Ichimoku support that could be here to kind of catapult Bitcoin higher. I really like what I'm seeing. This is an extremely strong sign on the chart, in my opinion, so I'm definitely quite happy to see these developments as they are progressing in this market. So beautiful support there. Daily cloud still far away. We don't need anything to we don't need to be concerned about that just yet. Daily EMA ribbon though, very, very close. All of this to me, guys, is pointing that if Bitcoin does move down now to the bottom of this range, which is a really nice range, right? This is a nice place for Bitcoin to be. If Bitcoin falls down to the bottom of this range, it's going to have a lot of support now that it did not have previously. When I talk to you guys about Bitcoin consolidating at resistance and what that might mean for a bullish breakout, we're talking about things that I've seen, happen a million times before, but you can see how this is actually materializing as well. This is really interesting, right? It's important to note, and it's cool to see how, our analysis kind of just all comes together, right? Various different bits of information from different directions all coming together to paint the same picture, which is that when we consolidate at resistance levels, it's generally a bullish thing when we're in an uptrend. And what this means here is that because we've now been stuck here for basically 2 weeks straight after a really nice big move up, we've had a chance for all of our support, all of our momentum indicators to catch up to the trend and offer us support right here. That is really strong. That's a really big deal, guys. I can't stress it enough. The fact that Bitcoin has been stuck trading sideways for 2 weeks and our support has now had a chance to catch up to us means that Bitcoin now is able to enjoy support at the bottom of this range, which it did not have previously. Let me make this even more clear if I haven't done so already. Bitcoin did not have support over here, and look at the bounce. Bitcoin did not have support over here, and look at the bounce. We actually broke above our resistance with a fake out. This is a really, really big deal, because now we do have support. Is it fair to say the bounces might be bigger? I think so. I definitely think so. Again, I must admit, we are at a strong, dangerous area of resistance right now. This is the strongest area of resistance that Bitcoin has at 28, and then more come together around 30, the low 30s. So this is definitely still something to be keeping in mind. But as far as the right things we could be doing go, we're doing all of them. We're doing all of the right things. which means to me that Bitcoin is in its best possible position to break up. Doesn't mean we will, no, but if there's any kind of group of things Bitcoin could have done to give it the best possible chance at breaking up, it is what we're seeing on this chart right now. The last time I said something like this was when Bitcoin was significantly lower, and you guys know I've been very bullish on Bitcoin since we were down here in the 17K range as well. Shout out to those of you that were staying tuned to this channel, that were staying subscribed, hitting up the likes, even back down here in the trenches, because we are now enjoying a lot of sunshine. We've had beautiful trading opportunities along the way. You guys know the deal. I've been in this position right here. I've been sharing it with you very, very openly and publicly indeed, and I shared it and I traded it all on Bybit and OKX. So check out these two links down below. Bybit is giving you up to $30,000 depending on how much you deposit and trade with when you sign up using my link in the description down below, which is a very, very powerful offer. And VIP right now, by the way, guys, is still 50% off, so take advantage of that while it's running. Now, let's move back to the US government news. This is definitely quite interesting. You know, what we have here is 50,000 Bitcoins, and they already sold nearly 10,000 of those. Now, what's interesting is the remaining 41,000 Bitcoins, if we just go ahead and, you know, throw this into a calculation with Bitcoin's current price, gives us, this is a hard number to read, but this is $1.1 billion, $1,148,000,000 worth of Bitcoin that the US government has to potentially sell. And a lot of people are getting scared about this because, you know, this can indicate that, you know, people want to sell off. I mean, that the US government wants to sell their Bitcoin, and so Bitcoin's price is going to crash because it's a lot of sell volume. You know, and the thing is we've already, like I said, we've already seen the first 9,000 of those Bitcoins get sold. And I'm curious, those of you that know where this happened on this chart, right? Like, let's just take a, you know, before I actually show you, you know, maybe you've already read the news article, so you'll know. But if you don't actually know, then participate in this. Just let me know in the comments, where do you think it happened? Somewhere on this screen? Do you think it was like this big drop here? Do you think it was like some of these big drops? They've had these Bitcoins for like 10 years now, so it could have been anywhere. I'm not going to play this game with you for any longer. They sold the Bitcoin here on this day. And what's really interesting is that on this day where they sold the Bitcoin, Bitcoin actually pumped up. Bitcoin actually moved up by about 2%. Take a look at this. Well, 6% actually. So, you know, we've got a very, very clear look right here. We've got a very, very clear situation here where it doesn't matter, you know, what Bitcoin did. Actually, on that day, the daily candle, which is what you're seeing right now, the price actually still managed to rise by 2.2% on the day that the US government sold so much Bitcoin. And the reason that this is happening, for those of you that don't know how, you know, big sales work, is that these sales are happening on the OTC market, the over-the-counter market, right? When you and I, we trade on Bybit, Binance, and so on, we're trading with an exchange. You know, what happens when you trade OTC is you just directly get the money. So exchanges are more for normal people like you and I, and OTC is more for like extremely big players, institutions, people, and so on. So obviously a government would be using that. So the selling pressure isn't really like hitting the market. In fact, a lot of the time when you trade OTC with this volume, you're buying or selling at discounts, right? So someone's actually getting a really good deal, potentially. And here's what actually does matter. If we take a look at this guy's tweet, Aurelian Ohayon, I definitely have said that name wrong. We've got an interesting chart here just showing the halvings for Bitcoin, right? And what we've got here is halving 1, 2, 3, and our upcoming one, and a concept that you and I have discussed a lot on this channel for a while, which is that in the lead up to our halvings, these vertical lines, we tend to see Bitcoin pump quite nicely, but directly after the halving, that's where things get really exciting. It's where, you know, just before the halving, we're moving up quite nicely. After the halving, we're moving very, very nicely. And it's the same thing, right? Moving up okay, right? I mean, this is still really good price action. I mean, the price from this low to this high is like a 10x or maybe more. It's huge. You know, but then afterwards it's a different story. And we've seen it happen every single time. You know, and right now we are already in the first the last 500 days before the halving as well, and this is what's really, really interesting. In fact, you know, in the 500 days before the halving, we usually see the price starting to tick up, and we are now away from the halving by just over a year. You know, this is an estimate. This is going to vary depending on where you look, but for the most part, it's pretty clear that we are around 100 days into that final 500, and we have already started to move up, which means that we are on track with what Bitcoin has done historically every single time. Now, for those of you who don't know, the halving is essentially where Bitcoin becomes twice as difficult to mine, right? If you don't know what the Bitcoin mining infrastructure means or how it looks like or what it, how it works, you should probably go and watch a video. Just type in like, how does Bitcoin work? There's a really good, very, very popular video on it on YouTube. It's got like many, many millions of views with a black background, so you'll know it. And the way this what this means is that Bitcoin becomes twice as difficult to mine, which means the rewards get cut in half, and that's what it means by halving, right? So this is how Bitcoin is deflationary. As time goes on, the amount of Bitcoins that can be produced or mined gets halved every time we have a halving. So this is a really big event. It's almost like Easter or Christmas, I guess, for Bitcoiners, and so this is kind of a big deal. This is kind of a big deal in my opinion, and this is where we actually are. We actually are in a place where, this stuff doesn't. There's been news like this a lot, right? I mean, this is not the first time serious amounts of Bitcoin have been sold off. Now, granted, 50,000 Bitcoins is a lot of Bitcoin, but it's not the first time that we've seen a serious amount of Bitcoin sold off. And, previously when this kind of thing has happened, it hasn't actually been such a big issue anyway. So I'm not that worried about it. I just can't find the way for me to be worried about it, because at the same time that we've got all of that, the long-term chart looks pretty good with the halving. The short-term chart, we've got a phenomenal 4-hour ascending triangle developing on the 4-hour chart as well, right? When we've got the short-term chart looking bullish, the long-term, the very, very long-term chart looking bullish, when we've got, look, there's a little bit of fluff in the, in the long term, right? I mean, from 69K to now, obviously isn't, a particularly nice chart, but with exceptions, there is a really good setup on this chart right now. And by the way, this is the important thing, right? Is it's not like 100% obvious that we're going to move up. Otherwise, you'd all be agreeing with me, right? And then we'd probably actually move down. It's not 100% guarantee that we're going to be moving up, but I still think that we're in a really good position overall. I think that we're in a really good position given where the short-term chart is, given that, this is a source of FUD, right? Fear, uncertainty, doubt, right? This is a scary headline. But Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin isn't moving up, right? Moving down even. This is really important to keep in mind. When we have negative headlines, but the price reacts by doing either nothing, trading sideways, or by going up, that's a really strong sign that the market is very strong. On the flip side, when we have bearish news and the market, does nothing or moves up, that's basically what I said. When we have bullish news, I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up now. When we have bullish news and the price does nothing or the price moves down, that tells you the market is very weak. It's very clear that we're in the former situation right now. We're in the first situation that I just described, which is that bearish headlines are doing nothing. The price is doing nothing in reaction to the bearish headline. We're not moving down, we're not moving up, we're just moving sideways. And so by default, if something bearish does nothing to the market, that has to tell me that we have some sort of bullish bias, where we're not actually particularly affected or worried about things like that at the moment, which is a really good sign, right? As somebody that's regularly committed in these markets, taking positions on Bitcoin and altcoins, I like to see that, because that's telling me that we still have a really nice fertile trading range right now, which is definitely ripe for the taking, right? For profits and stuff like that. Huge potential, guys. Make sure that you get access to your $30,000 in deposit bonuses. You get up to 30K, right? 30K is a ridiculous number. Not everyone's going to qualify for it, because it depends on how much you deposit and trade. But check it out. Those of you that have signed up, some of you haven't got your bonus yet, and the reason for that is because you haven't made your first deposit. You haven't started to trade yet. So go ahead and do that, and you will get that bonus for you. This is a phenomenal exchange. If you already have an account, you can make a new one. You know the deal. I've been using it for a really long time. It's pretty much the main exchange that I use anyway. So super cool setup here. Definitely take a look at that if that's something that you think you'd be interested in. Like I said, I think we're in a good place. There isn't a whole lot to say on this chart right now, as we haven't really seen any particular change. Ethereum as well, looking roughly like it's in the same place. I'm going to be looking at this as it continues to develop. Obviously, we're not going to stay here forever. I think that we're going to be getting a breakout relatively soon. Bitcoin dominance is peaking up again. I really want to see it reach the top of this range. We do tend to reach the very top of this range, so I want to see that we push a little bit higher. On this occasion, we actually topped out right where we are right now, but on the other 1, 2, 3, 4 occasions, Bitcoin did get right to the top of my green box here. So, it's a little bit, not much, but it would be nice to see Bitcoin get up there. definitely not essential. It's not something that I'm holding my breath for, but I think that a lot of opportunities in the altcoin market are about to open up. So this is definitely the time to be prepared, to have your trading bonuses ready, locked and loaded, ready to go for when the market starts to shift, because that could be happening very soon. In fact, the time to take positions is probably around right now, if I'm being honest with you guys. I haven't done anything yet myself with the altcoins, but you know, I'm not in a rush whatsoever. But, you know, I think that, you know, given how high the Bitcoin dominance is, I mean, there's not a whole lot of room if you expect that, you know, unless you think we're going to break out, which is a really big deal. I don't want to make such a bold prediction like I don't want to make such a bold prediction like that. Because I just don't think that that's necessarily correct. But you know, if you think we are going to top out and then move back down, then, you know, you don't really have any good reason to keep waiting at this stage. You know, which is also kind of cool, because it doesn't matter either, right? If you're getting free money, you can just kind of throw it into anything, and why would you care? It was, you know, it was never your money to begin with. But if you get to make, you know, profits on it, you can withdraw them. So really cool offer. Definitely take advantage of it. VIP and 𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐼 Academy, you can join by following these steps on screen. Just head on over to the description and then come down to these links right here. This link right here will take you into my free Telegram channel, where I give you more analysis from the market for myself and my team around the clock. And if you just want to join VIP directly without any of the fluff, then you can click this link here. That will take you there. Bybit 30K link is in the description. Definitely check it out. And the other thing that I wanted to highlight to you guys, I don't think I can show it to you right now, is that around here you're going to see a link to 𝐹𝐹Lies Daily. This is my new YouTube channel that I am about to launch, where I'm going to be giving you much more analysis on the markets, but it's going to be more tailored to altcoins, more tailored to shitcoins, just kind of covering the speculative opportunities there. Really short-term stuff. Different to this main channel. Nothing is changing with this main channel. Do not worry about it. But if you want more, and if you want altcoin analysis, check out that link in the description. Again, it's not going to be in this description, but it should be in today's video. So go ahead and check that out if that's something you think you'd be interested in. Thank you all for watching. You know exactly what to do. Like, subscribe, tick the bell, do all the good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.